And we're back! We're in LaCroix's tower. We have brought the sarcophagus. Beckett's right over there, but let's talk to LaCroix.
My Wunderkind returns. In my entire court, I knew there was only one who could have succeeded in this task. Finally, the Ankaran sarcophagus is ours. Come, I've granted Beckett's request to study and document all the markings of the sarcophagus. You've met Beckett, haven't you? Let's go take a look inside and see what the commotion around the city has really been all about.
Before we do that, I need an answer. Are you in an alliance with the Kuei-jin?
What? Preposterous. No kindred would trust them, nor would they trust us. Did Jack tell you that? Because it sounds like you've been taken for a fool.
I was told by the Kuei-jin agents sent to steal the sarcophagus.
And you believed them? They've been trying to take over LA for years. It's a ruse, a falsehood, spread to undermine my rule and turn kindred against each other, thin our ranks. They are duplicitous, evil creatures. Did they not try to kill you?
Yes, but...
Insurance. They lied to you in case you lived through the encounter. They hoped to create dissension in the ranks, rumors. It's a trick older than you or I.
We don't believe him, but we're gonna pretend we do. I believe you. Let's open the sarcophagus. We got some interesting info to possibly send to Damsel.
What have you assessed so far?
Unfortunately for the Heralds of Doom, it appears we won't be opening Pandora's box. The markings, as far as I can tell, are of Assyrian origin. An extraordinary piece, but nothing earth-shattering.
I see. Then there is no good reason why we shouldn't open it. Budge. Beckett, do you see any mechanism for the lid?
I haven't as yet had a chance to pore over it with my fine-tooth comb. I think I have one in my bag.
Why won't it open, Beckett? And you, I thought you said it looked as if it had been opened on the Dane. I want it open! You and Beckett, figure out a way to open it. I need to know what's inside. I have other matters to attend to. Come get me when a solution has been found.
The depths to which I'll sink to prove others wrong. The young ones get so temperamental. Fortunately for Sebastian, is it? I'd already made up my mind to open the sarcophagus, if only to show the city that Gehenna, contrary to popular belief, has not begun.
So how do we open it?
In the last few seconds, I've had very few epiphanies. I may be old, but I didn't build it. How knowledgeable are you on ancient Assyrian funerary constructs?
I took a class in ancient history in college, but I majored in the arts, sorry. Actually, you know what? The Assyrians? No. Yeah, I'm just gonna say the third one.
Fortunately for us, I know of someone who has distinguished himself in this field.
By the way, if you have a higher, well, in this case, research, you can actually say, yeah, well, we haven't seen an Assyrian sarcophagus before, basically. Or there's very few in the world. Who?
His name is Dr. Johansen, a professor of archaeology from Norway. He was the one responsible for finding the sarcophagus, and as far as I know, the only authority on its origin and design.
Where can I find him?
Until yesterday, he could have been found in his suite at the Empire Hotel downtown. But when I stopped by earlier this evening, all I found was spilt coffee on a morning paper. Appears he's been abducted.
Tell me he left some notes or a diagram or something.
I did find a pair of bikini swimwear, and a book detailing the origins of various Turkish dialects.
That's all?
I detected the scent of myrrh incense, which is usually burned in monasteries. Also, I found beach sand in part of a muddy footprint. Putting two and two together, I located a monastery near a beach in Malibu, where I believe hunters are holding Johansen captive.
You figured that all that from sniffing around his room?
Actually, there were 2 hunters on the roof of the building opposite the hotel who were positively delighted to tell me everything they knew, provided I stopped dangling them head first over the side.
Did you kill the hunters?
No. Only the stupid and careless get caught by hunters. They serve their purpose in the natural order.
I see. So what should we do now? That's an interesting point of view he has.
The hunters abducted Dr. Johansen for his own protection. Or at least that's how they've justified it. He's being held by the Society of Leopold and used, quite ingeniously, as bait for Prince LaCroix's minions.
Society of Leopold?
Sebastian mentioned you ran into one of the hunters from the Society of Leopold some time ago. They're so secret a church organization, I don't even think they know if they exist. But essentially, they're murderers for Christ, or some such deity.
So how do we get him out?
You'll have to go to the monastery and find a way into the tunnels beneath, where the hunters are holding Johansen. I'm afraid I can't accompany you, but then it's best you go alone. Too many of us might set them off, like fundamentalists on contrary opinion.
Too true. How do I get there?
I wouldn't recommend walking. Certainly, Sebastian's already provided cab fare. I'm sure he always spares no expense when archaeology is at stake.
Well, I have a few questions before I go.
Excellent.
He doesn't seem to be that interested either. Anything else you can tell me about the Society of Leopold?
The Society, for the most part, knows very little about us. But they do know how to kill and torture us, and that's enough. Also, some of them exhibit powers that can make them quite formidable. Obfuscate will serve you well around the hunters.
It's a shame I don't have that, but I'm pretty powerful myself, and I have ways of sneaking around. You spoke of Gehenna before. Think the sarcophagus is part of it?
Well, if we open it up and the world ends, then yes. If we open it up and the world does not end, then no. I'd wager the latter.
Have you learned anything else about the Fibblets?
How any sane kindred could think these poor unfortunates are an immediate threat to us is absurd. Most were afraid, or at the very least uneasy around me. Tragic. Their desperation could very well hold the spark of revolution, however.
And that would be a pretty interesting story, Fred, if we saw more of it. I think there might be a little bit of it in the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade tabletop game lore, but I feel like there could be even more, but who knows? Maybe there will be in the future. Tell me more about yourself.
I've said quite a lot about myself already. I know even less about you than you do me. Why don't you tell me about yourself?
Okay, so this is where we have some opportunities now. Okay, so we could either, I guess we can't persuade him. I think it's because we don't have enough perception anymore. Presence around him, he's resistant to it. Let's see, I don't know any problem that can't be solved with violence. I think that will help with, maybe with humanity? But I'm gonna pick, like yourself, I consider myself somewhat of a scholar.
I consider myself a seeker of reluctant information. Scholar sounds like academia. Ugh. How versed are you in the occult?
Not very.
Then you wouldn't know that Dracula, the fictional vampire of movie fame, was very real. His real name was Vlad Tepes, and he was a Jamisi, though he was not Sabbat. By some accounts, he still lives into these nights. Unless you've got further questions, I'd really like to get back to looking at the sarcophagus.
I did have another question. Let's see if I have.
Excellent.
I'm ready to go get the professor.
Remember, Dr. Johansen is an innocent. He has no idea we actually exist. Try not to put the idea in his head.
Okay. Okay, so we just got ourselves our 5th point of linguistics, which gives us persuasion 8 naturally, but with presence 5, that will give us persuasion 10, which is quite neat. I don't think we're going to get any real use of that in the final nights, but it also gives us literacy 7, which is going to be useful if we ever wanted to go for that dodge book. But first, let's talk to LaCroix. We haven't talked to him in a while, and maybe we can get some more information out of him. Or at least some money for going for all this freaking effort to get the freaking sarcophagus.
Did you find a way to open the sarcophagus?
Getting the sarcophagus back was quite an expensive ordeal.
I can't have my protege looking plebeian, can I? You'll find I can be very generous towards those who serve me well.
Did I mention I had to slink through sewers, Chinatown, and find Shimizi?
Point made.
Thanks, I had a question.
Which is?
And he's also bored. What do you know about the Kuei-jin?
Traditionally, the Kuei-jin have stayed in Asian territory, and the kindred Europe, and later North America. But recently, they invaded the West Coast, killing off a substantial number of anarchs. They lack the organization of the Camarilla, and think nothing of breaking the Masquerade. Though we share similar traits, there is no fraternity between us. We embrace. They rise from the grave. They do not know the pleasure of blood. They are without clan. And oh yes, they believe our kind to be inferior. They are as much of a threat as the wolves.
By the way, about them having no actual infrastructure, that's not entirely true. They have their own structure. It's called, the Kuei-jin courts, and it varies from court to court, but they can be extremely strict. They probably make the Camarilla look like the anarchs in comparison, from what I've read about. They are very strict, and it's harsh. So he's not entirely telling the whole truth here. And them breaking the Masquerade, not entirely true. Not true at all. It varies depending which Kuei-jin, but they don't want to break the Masquerade that easily. But I think there's like I said, Ming Xiao had said, they hide in plain sight. Wolves?
Werewolves. I can still recall a time when cities were surrounded by miles of forests full of the beasts. But progress has taken care of that problem.
And that's caused another problem, but never mind.
Which is?
What do you think is inside the sarcophagus?
If you didn't take the time to ask, perhaps we'd know by now. As I mentioned before, my concern is that it pertains something supernatural. Though Beckett has waived this theory altogether. The city is alight with dread. Perhaps it's an antediluvian.
Oh, God. I love it how he says that. It's hilarious. Okay, so when I played this game back in vanilla, back in 2004 to 2011, I never played the unofficial patches, so I also never thought to go back to ask him about ask him here. So when I replayed the game back in 2019 with the unofficial patches, I heard this line. It made me laugh out so loud because it was so funny. Antediluvian?
A joke? The antediluvians are the mythical progenitors of each of the clans for whom they trace their bloodlines, and according to mythology, descendants of Cain, the legendary first vampire.
Cain?
As in the biblical Cain and Abel? Before you put too much stock in it, realize that the church and all of its mythos are blends of kindred and mortal meddling, whips to regulate weak minds. This is all Beckett's field of expertise. If you want a lesson, merely ask him.
I had another question.
Which is?
Never mind. Alright, well, let's go and do that. Let's see. Ooh, yes, we're back at $2,000. Fantastic. I think LaCroix could stand to give me more money, but of course, if you're playing Bloodlines 1 normally, he does give you way more money, and it's through the persuasion tract, not through the haggling. I wonder if he probably does give you actually more money if you go for the haggling. If you have more haggling skills. Okay. Oof. Close. Alright. Alright. If I can just grab this dude. I can get to my blood to a safe level. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, so I do believe we have an item to give back to Pisha, which is the Giovanni book. The Vita de Morte. Yeah, I can't say it. She'll say it correctly when we get back to her. Alright. Boing. What's our little...
Yes,
Here's the book you were looking for.
the Voce del Morte. The Giovanni never willingly share their secrets, and I've had little success infiltrating their strongholds. How did you obtain this?
They were a little distracted, so I was able to slip in and under the radar.
It will take some time to translate and unlock the secrets of this. I will have to move on from the city to evade any Giovanni seeking it. Take this. This will complete the terms we agreed to, and I think it is adequate compensation. It is the key of Alamut. It instills dread in those that would harm you, and makes it harder for them to strike you. Make no mistake, our dealings do not make us allies. If indeed we meet again, do not ask me for any favors. I will give you this final advice, however. Leave this city. These are its final nights. Discord looms heavy. I've felt this before.
What do you mean?
In November of 1938, I was translating documents in Leipzig, Germany, written by a purported Crusades-era necromancer. There also, I felt a sense of impending chaos. Soon after was the Kristallnacht, the wellspring of a new world war.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I'll take that into consideration, but we can't just go. Oof. Damn it. Okay. So yeah, we got an extra soak now. This is a super useful artifact. Especially for us, since we are, you know, affected by the light. But thanks to our presence, we're able to overcome anything. Okay, actually, you know what? Because I have like 8 presents, well, seduction when I'm talking presents, I want to see if I could get her for free. But even if I can, I'll just pay her.
Hey, honey, looking for a date?
That depends how much.
Ooh, I don't get to do women often. Especially ones as cute as you, sugar. Tell you what, how's 40 sound?
All I got is $10.
Well, for you...
Okay, that's fine. Because I keep thinking if you have a high enough seduction, just come on, sir, move. Are we alone?
Okay, honey.
And we're gonna go back to the last round. Let Damsel know about this new little information we have. Might as well keep her updated. It's been a while, and we haven't been talking to Jack lately. Whoops. And I've gone the wrong way. It's been a while since it's been this way downtown, and as you might have guessed, we're locked out of the chantry because we told on Strauss. He's not happy with us. Guess you can't blame him. Alright. So I'm just saving a lot because I just want to be careful. So, let's see. Alright. Let's talk to Damsel.
Heard anything?
The Kuei-jin told me they have an alliance with LaCroix.
What? Who said it?
Some Kuei-jin, right before I killed him.
If this is true, listen, I can't believe even LaCroix's that low, but keep an eye on this. If there's anything I hate more than camis, it's the goddamn Kuei-jin.
I'll let you know when I have more news.
Just keeps getting more interesting, doesn't it, kiddo? The Giovanni, the Kuei-jin, lots of blood being spilled for a 10,000-year-old conversation piece, wouldn't you say?
Tell me about it. This damn well better have something interesting in there.
I heard LaCroix's been talking to Beckett, too. Beckett's a skeptic about all this stuff. I just hope he knows to be careful dealing with that snake LaCroix.
He and the prince want me to find Johansen, the archaeologist.
You do what you have to do.
I guess if I have to.
What's up?
I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Sure thing, kiddo. Fire away. What's on your mind?
The Kuei-jin.
Yeah, some of these younger anarchs got a real burning hate for the Kuei-jin. First time a lot of them seen full-on combat in the streets and seen their buddies dying was when the Asian invaders showed up.
Can you just call them Kuei-jin? Don't mention the fact they're Asian, please. Yeah?
Yep, cost the anarchs San Francisco. They're tough. Hard to get a beat on them. At least with Kindred, you pretty much know what to expect, what they're capable of. Kuei-jin? Full of surprises.
Oh yeah, the Kuei-jin have some really, really neat powers. I met with their leader. She's a condescending bitch.
Man, don't let them cloud your head with their mumbo-jumbo. That crap wasn't meant for you. We're different breeds, us and them.
Yeah, I know that. I called her a bitch.
Moving right along. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, let's see if Skelter has anything.
What the hell do you want?
I have a few questions for you.
Yeah?
What'd you make of this sarcophagus?
I've been hearing there's some ancient evil vampire gonna rise up out of there and bring all hell with it. Shit. For all we know, might be Cain himself. Some people are saying it's one of the first signs of Gehenna.
Could it just be a Camarilla ploy?
Nah, the Camarilla... Us? The Anarchs? Everybody's free. Yeah?
Do you know anything about the Kuei-jin?
Do I know the Kuei-jin? Those motherfuckers showed up in California 5 years ago and been fighting us tooth and claw for every inch of the free state since. Yeah, I know them.
What are they like compared to us?
Let me tell you, they ain't nothing like us. They're devils, man. Shifty fucking devils. Seeing the shit they're capable of makes some of what I saw in Nam make a lot more sense.
Ooh, you saw... Whoa, you saw some Kuei-jin in Nam? Interesting. You're at war with everyone then?
They're all invaders. The Kuei-jin, they're less likely to deal with you. They think they're the superior beings or whatever. But the Camarilla, they'll just lie and stab you in the back. Which is worse? Does it really matter?
Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. Not to you, obviously. I have a few more questions.
Yeah? Do I know?
Are they a match for a vampire?
Let me tell you, they ain't nothing like us.
Who's worse, the Kuei-jin or the Camarilla?
They're all invaders.
Good point. Let's see if Damsel has anything to say about the Kuei-jin.
Heard anything?
No, okay. Well, maybe she would if I wasn't a spy for them. But yeah. They've got some grudges. Anyway, this is going to be kind of a shortish episode because I'm just preparing for Society of Leopold and I feel like I gotta cut it short in a minute. So this is going to be kind of a short episode.
Baby girl.
Okay. I gotta kind of make a decision about this dodge book. To be honest. Am I gonna do it? I could save the points and put this up to 5, but having more defense would be really useful. It really would be.
There
Okay.
you are.
Money, been a while. You want cash? Here. Does that make a difference?
We want to want to build up our money as much as possible. I mean, even though I might not actually need it that much anymore, but I mean, it's still useful to have in case I need to buy blood for whatever I need, and you know, there's a possibility I'll buy in the dodge book. But also, I think realistically it makes sense for my character to want money because money is super useful for her. Alright. Okay. A part of me really does actually want to get that dodge book. You know, maximize my dodge here because it would be super useful to Society of Leopold, but I feel like if in that little warehouse in Chinatown was any indication, I'd probably be fine with my presence 5, so maybe I won't need to worry about that. Ooh, Foo Fighter. Shadowy Corporation assaulted by Chinatown vigilante. Alright, so let's put away our thing. Let's... She doesn't want any more drawings. Let's see, the champion. The success of a campaign is weighed by the commitment of your opponent. Okay. The Muse. Another email from Velvet. Oh, I do hope these nights have been kind. You were on my mind tonight, and I must admit it was inspiring. I wrote this for you. Death cannot smother love. Dead hearts are not always broken. Plant a kiss on my corpse. Love blooms. Did you love it? Vivi. I liked it. I think it's kind of sweet. I know some people say that the poem's bad, but I don't know much about poetry to be like, oh, finally she's in her gothic outfit.
Master?
No, you're perfect, exactly. So I don't really have anything to say against it. Alright. This is something to think about. I don't think I'm going to have the same struggles as I did the first time I played the game because when I first played the game, I didn't have the armor that I have now. I was wearing this for Society of Leopold because for most of the game I couldn't get armor. So that's why I've struggled so much. I'm in a different position now. I'm in a better position. I didn't have Presence 5. I think I only had like maybe even Presence 3 or 4. I don't remember exactly, but I'm in a better position now. So I don't need to really worry about it the same way. But still, it's still something to think about. But I kind of want to save the points. I feel like I would do better if I had more damage. But I'm going to cut it here, and we're going to go to, next time, we're going to go to Society of Leopold and rescue Johansen. Until then.